Today, we're going to continue the important discussion on how to find great talent. Now, last week, Mr. Drew Cameron began the conversation around where to find talent when the season is busy. Well, this week, he's going to finish that up, so if you haven't seen last week's episode, go back and watch it. It'll all make a lot more sense. In the meantime, take it away, Drew.
Got to get social. You know, millennials and Gen Zs are connected to their devices, okay? And so you have to attract your job seekers, you know, through social media. Again, not social media alone. It's just another strategy, right? I mean, to me, it's like you got to basically, you can't do everything and you can't do everything all at once, right? But I'm going to start with a few ideas and a few resources. Then I'm going to do a few more and I'm going to add a few more. And before you know it, every time I'm looking for somebody, now I have everything kind of wired in the way I need to have it wired in for my future jobs. If you do this well and you work the networking side of things, you're usually a phone call or a text away from your next employee. If you start building your database, usually a phone call or a text away as well. So Facebook, yes, you should have ads and you should pay for those ads, sponsor those ads and boost those ads, if you will. You can have a dedicated Facebook career page. Again, yes, you should have a company Facebook page, and you can do this for all social media, as we'll talk about here in a moment, but you have a dedicated page that's specifically for recruiting. So yes, I have the company Facebook page and I can put my recruiting sites ads on there, but then I have another one that is my careers page. And on my careers page, I show videos about a day in the life of my people, right? A day in the life of a salesperson, installer, a call taker, a technician, right? Showing the cool tools that they use with infrared cameras and flow hoods and static pressure gauges and infrared cameras and all the cool technology that we have, right? I mean, if the Navy and the Army can make dying look cool, why can't we make the trades look cool, right? And so we got to make the trades look cool. And then we can show a day in the life of like, here's what your life could be like if you worked in the trades. A nice house, right? Good schools, maybe a pool, maybe a vacation, maybe a nice vehicle, right? You show a day in the life of your people on your recruiting page in Facebook. So dedicated career Facebook page is a powerful tool there. On the two examples that I gave you, you'll see some events page as well as a dedicated recruiting site for Facebook. And then LinkedIn is another good place to look for people. Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, as well as Google.com. You want to make sure that your ads are optimized to pop up, as well as on Bing and Yahoo. They have some tools available to you where you can kind of target your PPC to, in those active searches so that you're the one who shows up first and foremost. And again, if you don't know how to do this, you have to work with somebody who understands social media. Quite frankly, if I'm talking about marketing for anything, you should outsource that. There's nobody on your team that knows all of what you need to know. And if you need resources for that, you join me at EGIA, and once a quarter, we have a marketing mastermind. We talk about marketing and advertising your business, but we also talk about marketing and advertising and for your recruiting as well. And then YouTube as well. You should have a dedicated YouTube channel about recruiting. You can have a company YouTube channel about your products and services that is geared and targeted towards your consumers. And you can have a dedicated YouTube channel that is geared and targeting coworkers. And then also, these are some people, like I said, that will help you, that know this space very well, and that they can go after these people and target these people and disrupt their lives, right? I'm not basically saying, that it's just, they're going to come to your site and they're going to see your ads. These people know how to basically put these ads out there so they disrupt people who aren't even looking for a job. And I've worked with each of these people. They're all good people. They're very successful in what it is that they do. They work with some of the best practices groups. They work with some of the consolidators and private equity money that's out there right now and helping these companies get the people. If you're always wondering how these huge companies keep finding people, now you know. This is one of the secrets, right? And you've got to ping those candidates at least 12 times. It can't be, you saw my ad once. You got to pay to put these ads out there. And these people know how to make sure that the content of those ads is out there, but also how to tag those ads behind the scenes so that they pop up and target the right audience. Because Facebook especially and LinkedIn, they're probably two of the best networks compared to American Express for marketing and advertising based on the target, because they know so much about their online subscribers. And that's why this stuff is so powerful, right? We can disrupt the digital footprint as well as the social media of people, right? I mean, you'd be shocked as to how much data is available for you out there, because people are placing cookies and allowing pixels to kind of follow you around the internet, and that's why those ads pop up when you go looking for like a car or a shotgun or a television or something like that. Next thing you know is all those ads are popping up in your searches, and you're wondering how that is. Well, it's very simple, right? They've put a little pixel or a cookie on your computer, right? Now, this is where, like I said, if you want to go ahead and try and steal a unicorn, rainbow striped unicorn, that is, these are people that if you make an investment in them, they are headhunters, they are aggressive, and they will go and pry people away for you. And they can find people not just in your market, they can find people all over the country, excuse me. So you can stop fishing and start hunting at that point, right? Fishing is you're out there and you're hoping you get a bite and this, that, and you get a bite, but it kind of leaves you. This is where these people go out and find somebody, present them to you. You still have the opportunity to interview them and hire them. And then there's a guarantee once you hire them for usually 60 to 90 days. I always like to get at least 90 to 120 days myself on a guarantee, meaning if they're not right and I have to let them go inside of 60 to 90 or 120 days, they'll replace that person free of charge as part of your investment. Now, it's more expensive than all the things I've talked to you about thus far. But if you got a technician, right, that could put up $500,000 to $1 million worth of billable service, not including equipment, 1/3 of their salary, and that's typically what these people will charge. Some of them a little bit less, but 25 to about 33% of a first year salary or wage is going to be what these people charge. And you think that's significant, but it's a drop in the bucket if I get somebody who can give me that kind of money every year because the expense then goes away. So you got to think a little bit differently about sourcing for these people. And so these are some of the organizations that do that, right? And so again, vet them, talk to them, get the guarantee. They'll work with you, find out about their process, get comfortable with it. But these are really compelling. When you really need somebody and you're desperate, pay for it, because the person that you hire, if you do well with recruiting, onboarding, training, coaching, and the support, and have a great culture as an organization, they'll stay with you, right? So you also got to work and rework your network of the people, of people that you know and who they know, right? You got to obviously get referrals from people too, right? Because again, people, you go to church, places of worship, your kids are networked into schools and organizations, right? Our kids have better social lives than we do. And so we've got to kind of work that angle as well. And, we got people on our team and they know people and they're married to people who know people, right? And so we got to make sure that we're working our entire network. It can't just be you as owners and managers that are always trying to make this happen. You got to leverage everybody in your geosphere of your life, right? So think about it a little bit differently here, right? You got to leverage coworkers network, right? And so you can offer a bounty to your coworkers for referring somebody, and you can have a signing bonus for the person that you're bringing on, right? And so both people can do that. I've seen numbers as little as a couple $1,000s, for a bounty, a signing bonus, and I've seen as much as $25,000. And you say, well, why would I pay $25,000? Again, think back a page, right? If I'm going to pay that to a recruiter, why wouldn't I pay that to my technician who knows somebody firsthand, right? And again, I'm only paying that if I sign them on and they stay, by the way. I don't, it's a $25,000 signing bonus if you think about it, right? But I can pay that, over 2 years, right? They have to stay 2 years in order for my person who's referring them to get their bonus over that 2-year period, as well as the person who's signing on to get their bonus. So you pay for it over time. If they leave you, then you're out whatever the few months that you had them. You can also have that annual retention bonus too. So not only do they get a referral bonus, but they also get the annual retention bonus. So every year that Steve, who referred Susie, and Susie stays, Steve gets a piece of the action, right? Because he's now incentivized to keep Susie on board. And you can build your little family tree, if you will, of people. And you can also maybe say, and if it's technicians and installers or salespeople, right? People who bill something, or billable, you can build your family tree and give them an annuity, okay? As far as a piece of the action. Let's say you gave, if I'm Drew and I refer Steve, the technician, and Steve's on board. Every year he's on board, I basically get the retention bonus for him staying, number one. But number two, I get a piece of his revenue. I get 0.5% of what he bills because he's in my family tree. I referred him, right? And for every year he's there, I get a piece of what he generates, 0.5%. That is nothing. We can give these people golden handcuffs to stay with us, right? Because if they refer 3 or 4 people, think about that. That's your retirement plan, right? As long as they're on board, with the company. Even if I retire, you could basically say, even if you retire, Drew, guess what? I'm still going to give you a piece of Steve's action. And I do that maybe for 3 branches. So if I refer Steve and Steve refers Joe, I get a piece of Joe's action, but I only get maybe 1/4% of that. And if Joe refers Susie, I get 1/10% of that. So it's a creative way to try and lock people in. I call it, building an annuity. Tap your customers network. I go ahead and I put it into a letter to my customers or to a newsletter to my customers. I've actually hired customers, right, who wanted to come and work for me because I put a recruitment ad in my newsletter. But I also had customers refer people to me because maybe I didn't know somebody, but they knew somebody. Again, when you start talking to people about what you want in life, don't be surprised when somebody actually gives it to you and refers it to you. So offer a bounty to those people as well as then offer that signing bonus, and then flush and reflush your pipeline continuously. Previous employees, people who've left you, if they were good people but they've left you, no harm and no foul. Don't begrudge anybody. People sometimes just kind of seek a greener pasture or think it's going to be greener, right? And then all of a sudden you get better at the game. You have a better culture. You've kind of reinvented yourself a little bit. Maybe now you're more attractive, and can offer them something that you weren't able to offer them when they left you. Maybe that's why they left you, because you couldn't give them a management position. Now you can give them management. Maybe you can even give a piece of ownership or equity in the company. And I'm all for that, right? I watch a lot of Shark Tank, and Mark Cuban says 70% of a watermelon is better than 100% of a grape. So you give them a piece of the action to come back and join you and be a part of the team. Review previously qualified candidates that you couldn't hire because maybe you had 3 people that came in that were really qualified. You really liked them, but you had 1 spot. Reach back out to these people. Be humble yourself and say, hey, listen, I got an opportunity. Oh, I understand now might not be a good time. Guess what? If you're ever thinking about an opportunity in the future, please make me your first call. I can't promise you anything. You can't promise me anything, but it's always worth a conversation, right? And then I can also review applications of previous good people that I liked, that had great attitude, great energy, but maybe didn't have the experience that I really needed at that time. Guess what? 2-3 years later, you know what happened? They went and got experience. And so they might be worthy of consideration. Again, the idea here is just to kind of rethink things a little bit differently. Most of us interview somebody, and if we don't hire them, all those applications go away. Number one, you got to hold on to those for at least 3 years by law, right? Any application that you take. So be careful about that. That's, you're going to have to prove yourself to somebody if you're ever accused of discrimination in your recruiting process. You have to have those applications on file. So multiple modalities, you got to apply multiple modalities. Again, you have to advertise paid training from scratch, in my mind, for someone with mechanical aptitude, and then you have in-house and outsourced training to fast track people. You should target and recruit car mechanics, computer technicians, anyone with technical skills from outside the trade as well, okay? Because again, you can train that candidate if you bring them on. You can also, some of my clients have started their own recruiting departments or a firm where they partner with one who they have an exclusive relationship. Instead of them doing all the work, they just pick up the phone and say, listen, we're gonna need 3 technicians, come spring. And they basically make that phone call to one of those organizations I talked with now, and guess what? The machine starts running. You don't have to do this on your own. You can outsource it, but you still control it. Cross-training, especially in your shoulder seasons and downtime. So if you are in multiple modalities, maybe you're in solar and you're in plumbing and you're electrical and HVAC and whatnot, cross-train the people, allow them to get the certifications or the licensing that they need, right? And then that way, when you have shoulder seasons in certain markets or certain product specialties, I can shift people to the various departments as needed, and they can and they can help out, right? And so you got to think in terms of how you deploy the resources that you have. At its core, our business is not just a customer service business. You're not a heating and air conditioning business or whatever trade you're in. You're a customer service business, but you're a logistics business, right? You have resources and you have to deploy those resources. And how you deploy those resources effectively and efficiently ultimately determines whether or not you're successful in business, right? And so you might also reconceptualize how you deploy that talent, right? And so if you had a smart home maintenance agreement, what you'd come to realize is that if you watch and monitor these systems, they probably only need to be tuned up once every other year if you're the one tuning them up and keeping them clean, number one. because you actually have them on life support, right? You're monitoring, the vital statistics of these machines, and so you go and maintain them when they need to be maintained. You don't have to go once a year for heating and once a year for cooling. Think about that. If you went and did a comfort system tune-up and did one a year, right? You could see twice as many systems, I should say, right? If you went and saw a system every other year, you could see 4 times as many houses. You wouldn't need as many people to service as many homes as you need to, and actually you'd be a lot more profitable. And again, a smart home maintenance agreement is a higher level of access, so customers are going to pay more, and those agreements are a little bit more profitable. You can also split crews on your installs if you need to, and have apprentices or laborers on those crews if it need be, and then utilize runners and floaters for different jobs, right? And so I use a runner to go out and pick up the trash, as well as deliver the equipment and bring the stuff back and change things over. And then floaters can go from job to job. I might have if I'm doing a cut-in with a duct system, I might send a third player out to a job to be a pair of hands. I don't need to send another full-fledged mechanic out there. So think about how you deploy your resources. That's kind of a different idea out there than recruiting per se, but it allows you to maybe recruit something where you bring somebody on who's got very base level of skills, and now you make them an intern and you grow that person and you take them from nothing to a full-fledged installer or technician over time. And they stay with you because you're the one who's invested in them. And then you got to get creative, right? Align yourself with local trade and vocational schools here, right? Instructors will always look to help and place students, and you can add them to your advisory board as to say, okay, when it comes time for recruiting, what should we be doing? How should we be doing this? How can we be sticky to the people that are coming through high school and coming through trade schools? Offer paid internships with paid tools. I'd work with my local supplier to say, hey, listen, give me a free toolkit for everybody that I hire. And again, I'm going to promote you, and that way when they need other tools, they're going to probably come to you for their other tools as well. But I'm going to give them their initial starter kit, to get started. And since I have that relationship with that supply house, I'm get them to pay for it, right? Because I keep buying a lot of product, from those people. And if they stay with you, they get to keep the tools, right? They got to stay with you for at least a year, and they get to keep the tools. And then work with schools that have local, national, and regional ties to larger candidate pools. You never know where some of these schools are networked nationwide, especially nowadays. The internet has got, basically everybody has a network with tentacles that are far reaching than just usually the local school. So align yourself with those organizations. Also think about, like I said, after school interns, somebody who's going to high school, but maybe wants to make a little bit of money on the side. They come in and they can restock the warehouse, put things in the bins, clean out trucks, do all kinds of different things there. You can also offer the opportunity to shadow and do full internships, as well as having an apprentice program. You can also offer people to do what I call a ride and decide. I do this with installers and technicians as well as sales roles. And so learning and lunch on us. You come in, I'll pay you for your time. I'll also buy you lunch for the day, right? Paid or unpaid shadow day. You want to ride with one of my technicians for a day and see a day in the life? Guess what? I'll pay you $100, $200 for the day. Somebody who's interested enough to come in, if I throw just a little bit of money at them, just to make life a little bit easier for them. Again, not everybody's going to come on board, but if you can get in my mind, about 30 to 40% of them, it's worth the small investment, right? So successful interns get hired, right? And then you work with school counselors as well to let them know about this opportunity. They know that there's people in high schools and whatnot that are not, college material, or don't have the wherewithal to get to college. I mean, they could do well in college. They just don't have the wherewithal to get to college and afford college, and maybe they're not going to get a scholarship. And so maybe the trades is a good place to go. And maybe it's also great for a gap year. There's a lot of people who basically, including myself, I took a year off after high school because I got sick with mono, but I took a year off after high school. It was a gap year. But if I wasn't in a family business, what would I have done? Somebody would have probably taken a job. And you offer people, the opportunity to come and work with you for a gap year. You'd be shocked as to how many of them choose not to go to college now, because they learn where the opportunity is within the trades. And then you can do in-house career fairs, Q&A, a day in the life, and use some of the the technology that you're using. Let them see the cool technology, the computerized stuff that we do. Like I said, if the military can do that in their commercials and make it, like I said, look pretty cool to go out there and put yourself into harm's way, I think we can do a really good job with that in our industry and show people the cool tools and technology and the impact that they can not only make in people's lives, but the impact that we as a company make in the community, as well as we can help them if they're interested in certain critical causes and charities, that we will support them in those critical causes and charities as well as an organization. And then leverage your resources, other resources, build a tuition-free paid training academy. You can even work with having a dorm, or hotel situation, but to bring people in, work with your manufacturers and your distributors. Talent acquisition through company acquisition, so you can buy a company to get the talent you need. You can outsource functions as practical, meaning again subcontractors. I'm not a super fan of that. To some extent, outsourcing certain things, but make your application process quick and easy and painless, if you will, because again, people don't want to, those barriers to entry.
Awesome content right there. As always, be sure to share this on Facebook. And if you're not a member, click the button below to get a 30-day free trial, giving you access to all of our amazing content. Well, that's our show for this week, folks. We'll see you soon. Until then, bye-bye for now.